Welcome to our channel, Buddhism in Daily Life, where we explore the path to success, happiness, and peace. In today's video, we'll dive into how letting go of resentment brings us closer to true happiness. Life is like a fragile glass ball. Sometimes it breaks, and while picking up the pieces, we may get hurt. But remember, happiness is something we create with our own hands, through effort, change, and perspective. If you're ready to transform your life and attract success, hit that subscribe button and join our journey toward a fulfilled and meaningful life. Happiness is like a fragile glass mirror. When it shatters, its pieces scatter everywhere, and anyone can bend down to pick them up. Some, in their fortune, may gather more pieces, but not everyone can avoid the sharp edges of the broken shards. Similarly, life is filled with pain, disappointment, and helplessness. Even the smallest wounds can cause deep anguish, much like a tiny cut can bring sharp pain. Yet to achieve happiness, we must be willing to face these wounds. Just as when we gather broken pieces of glass to restore a mirror, we must be careful, patient, and constantly seek change within ourselves. In life, resentment is ever present, like a fire ignited by a single spark. At first, resentment may bring momentary satisfaction to our pride, but just as fire can consume a house, resentment quietly robs us of precious happiness. The things we don't desire, failure, heartbreak, criticism, are unavoidable. No matter how carefully we plan or shield ourselves, life will inevitably throw unexpected challenges our way. No one can entirely escape pain or the exhaustion that comes when life slips beyond our control. We often engrave the injuries caused by others into our minds, just as we remember the sting of a thorn in our hand. Yet, the kind acts and moments of goodness that others offer us slip away like water gently flowing without leaving a trace. This causes discontent to arise, and we easily criticize others, forgetting that we too are imperfect. When we become angry with others, it's as though we are facing a mirror that reflects our own expressions. If we can transform our dissatisfaction into laughter, life will feel much lighter and more joyful. When we get angry at others, it is like standing in front of a mirror that reflects our own emotions. Before long, that reflection intensifies the tension in our relationships, like a guitar string being stretched too tight, ready to snap at any moment. Instead of harboring resentment over things that don't go our way, we can learn to turn those misunderstandings into the material for light-hearted, humorous stories. After all, happiness is truly the art of transforming complaints and fears into laughter and grace. Happiness does not lie in demanding perfection from others or from ourselves. It resides in the gentle way we can view imperfections with compassion and forgiveness. Just as in a garden, if we only focus on the withered leaves, we will miss the beauty of the blooming flowers. Letting go of the minor hurts that others may have caused and focusing on the positive light around us is the first step toward finding peace within. Negative things, whether a frown or a harsh word, are like tiny grains of sand in the vast ocean of life. Holding on to them only distances us from happiness, building walls that separate us from true joy. Grand ambitions, if left unchecked, will only narrow our hearts and rob us of inner wealth. This precious life, with time flowing ceaselessly, is too valuable to be wasted on petty grievances. Anger is a burden, and resentment only clouds the beauty of the present moment. There is nothing more wonderful than living with compassion and forgiveness, opening our hearts to receive the goodness that life has to offer. When we replace negative emotions with compassion and understanding, we not only free others, but also find freedom and peace within ourselves. It is like a gentle breeze that sweeps away the dust of suffering, leaving our minds clear and serene. On the contrary, when we begin to blame others, we open the door for misfortune and bad luck to creep into our lives. Bit by bit, troubles come one after another, taking away our joy and even our prosperity and happiness. Blame and resentment are like a fire. If not extinguished in time, they will spread and burn, not only our own state of mind, but also those around us. Negative energy easily transmits like waves, deeply affecting the emotions of the people we interact with. In this vast universe, all things are grouped by similarity. Positive people tend to gather with other positive people, creating an environment of joy and vitality. Meanwhile, negative people gravitate toward each other, forming a stifling, heavy atmosphere that weighs down our emotions like a dark sky before a storm. When we blame others, we also delay the resolution of the problem, stretching time unnecessarily. This is like trapping ourselves in a vicious cycle where the issue remains unresolved, waiting for us to confront it. In truth, blaming has never been a solution. It only temporarily relieves the irritation inside, like letting steam escape from a pressure cooker. But the consequences can become far worse if those complaints spread. The matter may be misunderstood, exaggerated, and turned into something much more harmful. Blaming others is like watering the seeds of negativity within our minds. Without realizing it, we gradually become addicted to negative thoughts, and real troubles will soon follow. Always remember that a mind full of positive energy creates a bright life, while negative thinking leads us down the path of suffering and unrest. Blaming is the way we push joy and happiness away from us. If we wish to live a cheerful and optimistic life, we must learn to live without resentment. Happiness doesn't come from distant dreams, but from cherishing what we already have. When we truly pause and reflect, even the smallest things in life can become sources of immense joy, like watching a flower bloom or listening to the laughter of loved ones. Look at every situation and every person with the eyes of compassion and empathy. Only when we learn to accept and forgive can we escape the shadows of life and move toward the light of true peace and happiness. Each time we choose to treat ourselves kindly, letting go of resentment, we are beautifying our souls, just as the sun dissipates dark clouds in the sky. If a person is driven by too much desire and ambition, their wisdom and understanding will gradually diminish. Time flows like an unceasing river, and life is too short to waste on unnecessary grievances. Whether the moment is good or bad, the key is to maintain a joyful and peaceful attitude in the face of life's challenges. Those who constantly face trouble tend to narrow their minds, becoming obsessed with trivial issues, and thus happiness naturally fades away. The freedom that ancient sages spoke of does not involve escaping reality, but rather broadening our perspective and placing ourselves in a greater context. When we see things from a larger view, the small conflicts that once bothered us will no longer matter, and we will naturally step into the path of peace and liberation. In life, misunderstandings and conflicts between people are inevitable. When someone unintentionally hurts us, complaining or blaming them may seem like a natural reaction, but in reality it is quite irrational. Anger and resentment don't harm the person who hurt us. Instead, they bring sorrow and may even physically harm us. There are so many people in life who deserve our respect and love. So why waste time harboring anger toward those who have wronged us? Anger and resentment are like shackling ourselves to suffering. It's like holding a burning coal, thinking it will harm the other person. But in the end, the only one who gets burned is ourselves. Resentment is like a slow-acting poison that seeps into the heart, gradually stealing the sunlight from our lives, eroding inner happiness, and casting a shadow over our world. By choosing resentment, we choose to live in a darkened world, like a sky perpetually covered in clouds without the warmth of the sun. There will always be people who misunderstand, ignore, or deceive us in this world. But the most important thing is to love ourselves and let go of the pain from the past. Forgiving others is not just about releasing them from our anger, but also about freeing ourselves from the invisible chains of suffering. Resentment is a negative emotion that blinds the mind and distorts our values, like a layer of dust covering a mirror, preventing us from seeing the bright nature of our soul. In contrast, forgiveness is like a refreshing stream of water that washes away troubles, allowing us to mend broken relationships and bringing peace and calmness to both body and mind. The storms of life will eventually fade, just like after the rain, the sky clears again. Wounds will heal, like a scratch on the body that gradually disappears over time. Any dark night will be lifted by the warmth of the morning sun. Suffering, no matter how heavy, cannot last forever. Nothing in this world is eternal. Everything is in a constant state of transformation. There is a simple yet profound saying, "This too shall pass." It may bring quiet reflection to those who are happy, but it can also offer comfort to those who are sad. If right now you are experiencing happiness, cherish and fully live in that moment, for happiness is fleeting. If you are facing sorrow, take heart. for it will soon pass as well. Every moment holds both an end and a beginning, both opportunities and fortune if we learn to listen and seize them. We find peace when we accept the impermanence and changes of all things. When we allow ourselves to be sad, angry, or disappointed without resisting, we align ourselves with the natural flow of life. Just as a river never flows backward, experiences, whether joyful or painful, will pass, becoming part of the past as we move forward into the future. True peace is not the absence of turmoil, but the ability to accept and live in harmony with these changes. Only when we nurture inner calm can we find true strength. Through this, we will realize our true worth in the unending flow of life. Thank you for watching and being part of this transformative journey. Remember, happiness begins when we release resentment and embrace peace. Let's continue growing together and building a life filled with success and joy. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below. How do you deal with resentment? We'd love to hear your experiences. And of course, if you haven't already, like, share, and subscribe to stay connected with more powerful insights.